In this video, I will demonstrate the program selection and program run operations of the StepMash and HLT controller. The system will boot to the MASH program selection screen. This menu is selected to enter program selection, program modify, and program run menus. The blue buttons will be used for navigating back and forth between menus, move a cursor for function identification, and for value adjustment. The green button will be used for menu selection, function selection, and value selection. I will select this menu to proceed to program selection. The blue buttons are used to navigate back and forth through the 9 programs. The program number will appear in the upper left-hand corner of the display. For this demonstration, I have set up Program 1 as a single-step program, Program 2 as a 2-step program, and Program 3 as a 3-step program. Programs 4 through 9 will show no program as they have not been set up. Notice how easy it is to identify the program as the MASH steps are clearly displayed, with rest times on the first line and rest temperatures on the second line. Steps 1 to 3 shown left to right. This controller has been set up for English units and degrees Fahrenheit. For program 3 we have 10 minutes at 122 degrees for step 1. We have 15 minutes at 135 degrees for step 2. And we have 60 minutes at 154 degrees for step 3. The MASH steps do not include the strike temperature offset or MASH out. Strike temperature and MASH out are global settings for all programs and will be discussed later in this video. I'm going to select program 3 for this demonstration. Run program and modify program will now display, and either may be selected by using the blue buttons to move the cursor to define which routine to run. I will select Run Program 3 to proceed. Modify program will be covered in another video. HLT temperature will now display. HLT temperature is a global setting applied to all programs. The factory default setting is 170 degrees and is adjustable from 90 to 180. I will select the default setting of 170. Strike temperature offset is a second global setting. The factory default setting is 0 degrees and is adjustable from 0 to 15. This offset value is what will be added to the first step temperature for dough-in. Use the blue buttons to increase or decrease the temperature. I will select a value of 2 degrees. For the program selected, the step 1 temperature is 122. The dough-in temperature will therefore be 124 degrees. Conversion check is a third global setting. Conversion check on will prevent the controller from proceeding directly to MASH out at the end of the last MASH step. Starch conversion may be tested, and the MASH may be left at this temperature indefinitely until instructed to proceed with MASH out. Conversion check off will allow the controller to proceed immediately to MASH out at the end of the last MASH step. I will select on to demonstrate this feature. Lastly, before starting the MASH program, we set up the MASH out step, the last global setting. Like the MASH profile, we will define the rest time and temperature. The factory default settings for the MASH out rest is 10 minutes and is adjustable from 1 to 120. If you want to skip the MASH out step, the rest step can be set to 1 minute and the temperature may be set for the last MASH step temperature. I will select the default setting of 10. The factory default setting for MASH out temperature is 168 degrees and is adjustable from 90 to 172. I will select the default setting of 168. All global settings will now be saved for use with other programs and may be modified prior to running as needed. Program 3 is now in automatic mode. MASH and HLT outputs are on, as you can see by the display here. I have previously set up the MASH controller for on-off operation and the HLT controller for PI operation to demonstrate those functions. MASH is warming up to the dough-in temperature. MASH and HLT temperatures will be continuously displayed on the second line throughout the MASH process. The MASH is now approaching the dough-in temperature, that being the step 1 temperature plus the strike temperature offset. A continuous alarm will sound and the dough-in temperature will be maintained until the alarm is silenced. You will notice some temperature overshoot for the MASH. That is normal for on-off controlled systems. The temperature will settle in around the set point. Press the select button to silence the alarm when you are ready to dough in. The step 1 temperature set point will now revert from dough in to the step 1 set point only, allowing the temperature to drop from the dough in of 124 degrees to the step 1 set point of 122 with the grain addition. After dough in, press the select button to start the MASH process. The step 1 timer will initiate at the program time and count down. The MASH is now approaching the end of the step 1 rest. A momentary alarm will sound and the MASH will begin warm-up to the step 2 temperature. Step 2 will be displayed in the upper left-hand corner. The MASH is now approaching the step 2 temperature. A momentary alarm will sound and the step 2 timer will initiate at the program time and count down. The MASH is now approaching the end of the step 2 rest. A momentary alarm will sound and the MASH will begin warm-up to the step 3 temperature. Step 3 will be displayed in the upper left-hand corner. The MASH is now approaching the step 3 temperature. A momentary alarm will sound and the step 3 timer will initiate at the program time and count down. We are now controlling at the desired HLT temperature. The MASH has now approached the end of the step 3 rest. Since the conversion check feature was selected on, a continuous alarm will sound and the conversion check is displayed in the upper left-hand corner of the display. Press the green button to silence the alarm. End MASH will now display in the upper left-hand corner. The MASH temperature will be maintained indefinitely until the green button is pressed to end the MASH. This allows extension of the conversion rest to as long as necessary to complete the conversion. Press the green button at the end of the MASH and continue to mash out. Mash out is now displayed in the upper left-hand corner. The MASH is warming up to the programmed mash out temperature. The MASH is now approaching the mash out temperature. A momentary alarm will sound and the mash out timer will initiate at the program time and count down. The MASH is now approaching the end of the mash out rest. A momentary alarm will sound and the MASH heat off will display in the upper left-hand corner. Press the green button to turn off the MASH heat and begin the sparge process. HLT heat off will now display in the upper left-hand corner. When the sparge is complete, press the green button to turn off the HLT heat and end the MASH process. The boil timer with programmable hop additions may now be set up. This will be covered in another video.